Now I'm going to take this end, and then on this end I'm going to go ahead and put my cap on it, because we're going to be moving this around. We don't want to get anything in it. This will be in your kit. It has the hose thread cap. Make sure there's a rubber seal in there. You're going to put that on tight, and then you're going to stick it on the end of this. Now you push it in and kind of get some leverage. You just kind of work it back and forth, and it'll only go in so far. That's one of the advantages of the components that are in the Garden Master's Bucket Garden Kit, is that there's a ledge on the inside of these, so it stops it, so you can't go too far in and close off a water path. So now we'll take this. We've got that end in there, and what we're going to do is we're going to start with our second marks. Now every one of these marks is the center of a group of 4 spray stakes. So this first one is 1, 2, 3, 4. That is what's going to be in these 4 bags across. Well, we want an inch apart on each of these, so this being the center, I'm going to go a 1/2 inch on either side. That's the first 2. And then I'm going to go 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch for the next one. There's my 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in your kit, you'll find a punch. It's a yellow punch, has a real sharp point on it. You're going to take it right in the middle of that blue line on the mark and punch through just like that on each one of these. Now you're going to go down and make those marks at every one of these bag marks that you made on the line. You're going to punch the holes, and then once we do that, we'll come back and show you how to put the spaghetti line in and the spray stakes together. So we'll go ahead and get this finished, and then we'll come back with you and show you how to put the finished irrigation lateral in and set it up on the bags. Okay, we've got this lateral drip line mostly completed with the leaders. In your kit, you'll have a roll of the 16-inch, or 1/16 of an inch spaghetti line. You'll cut that in 24-inch pieces, and that's what you'll use to put the emitters on the end of once they're pushed in. I'll show you now how to do these last 4, and then we can go from there. Okay, here's our last 4 that have been put together. It's best to cut these all at once and then put your emitters on them. And again, they slip into the top, and this puts out a fine mist over the top of the bag. Let's get the rest of these installed. Now, as you recall, we went through and marked where the holes would be, and we punched it with the punch that's included in your kit also, the Garden Master's Bucket Garden Kit. And there's 4 holes at every center line. We mark the center, and then approximately 1 inch to 3/4 inches apart on the hole. So you have a total of 4 in this configuration. Now what we're going to do is, you can use that or you can use a nail now to open that hole up. Grab your spaghetti line, pull that out, and you'll feel it kind of go in. You want it to be in there about 1/4 of an inch, no more than that. If you push it in too far, it can close off the end of the spaghetti line, or it'll roll the spaghetti line over and kink it to where you won't get any water through that spaghetti line. So we'll go ahead and do these last 4. There's two. Okay, we have that set. Then to get this prepared, you basically drag it across like this. Pull the first couple bags up. We're going to mark that with our thumbnail so we know how far we are. And then we're going to push it in. Okay, our next step now is to pull this tight across the center of the bags so that our lines line up with where we marked them. And then you just simply reach down, pull the bag towards you, slip it down in there. Push the sand back around, and the bag itself will actually hold it into place. We'll check the ends here. Everything looks secure. We'll make sure these are sand is level. Then we'll take these, each of these emitters. Now this is a spray stake, so it sprays out 0.25 gallons per hour. So it's a very fine specialized stake that I import. You put it in the corner of the bag, so to speak, angled back at about 20 to 30 degrees, so it covers the bag. Make sure your sand is level. And you want it to go across. There. Now we'll go ahead and get the rest of these set up, and then we'll come back and show you how you hook up your computer that comes with the kit, and then we'll turn it on and you'll get a view of what it's supposed to look like when it's running. Okay, we have all of the spaghetti tube and spray stakes installed into the irrigation lateral. We put the stakes on the end of each of the spaghetti lines, and now we've installed each of the spray stakes in each of the bags. Again, they're put in the corner at an angle of about 20 to 30 degrees so that they basically shoot across the entire surface of the growing medium. And there'll be final minor adjustments once the system is operating to where you get everything covered just right. Now from here we'll go to the water source and show you how you should ideally plumb that part of the system, and then we should have a complete installation view for you. Here we are at the water source. What we supply in the kit is all the fittings on the poly side. and the Dig 7000 irrigation computer. It's a 4-time computer. It's set for 4 times a day, once at 6, once at 12 noon, once at 2 p.m., and once at 4 p.m. For 1 minute each. This computer is the best one that we found on the market. It will run 28.5 gallons a minute, which will supply a 1/4 acre garden without any problems. In addition to that, it's the latching solenoid technology, so it runs off of a 9-volt battery, and in some parts of the world it'll run up to 2 years on the 9-volt battery. In areas of high temperature, it lasts about a year, but we recommend that you mark down the installation date and then you change the battery on that anniversary date every year, regardless of what the condition of the battery is. And in that way you don't have any garden disasters as far as lack of water when you're away for a day. We start on the supply side with a 1-inch riser. In this particular riser, we've also put a T for planning ahead for future expansion on the demonstration gardens. A valve off the top. This is a full open valve. There's no restrictions, so we get maximum water out of the hose when we need it for cleaning things down. We put a Y so that we have also a source for water for mixing our nutrients. Everything here next to the garden. Off of the riser, we come with a 3/4 nipple, 3/4 ball valve. Always use a ball valve or full open valve whenever possible to get your maximum flow. Then the Dig 7000, we come out the exit, elbow down, 6 inches from the elbow, we put a T and an elbow for a bleed off valve. This is a pressure release valve. This basically drains the line above it when the system shuts down. And the purpose for that is, in high temperature areas, water that remains in the computer can boil and damage it, and in low temperature areas water can remain in the computer, freeze and damage it. So we put the relief valve in there to drain that off when it's finished with the cycle to protect the computer. We then go down to the ground, a couple elbows, and then off to wherever we have our garden placed in order to supply the garden. That concludes the water supply and how that is put together. There's also additional schematics and still shots on our website to help with that in addition to this video. We'll now go back to the garden and turn this on, and we'll show you what that looks like. And there we have the finished product. As you can see, when we zoom in, the pattern of the spray stake, you'll do a little final adjustment to get the height on the stake just right and the angle just right. You may have a few that may have a little debris in them. They're not spraying quite right. You just pull the spaghetti line out of the spray stake, spray it off a little bit, tap it to get anything out of it, put the spaghetti line back in it, and then set it back in the bag. Once this is running, you'll need to run it several cycles or turn it on manually in order to totally saturate the bags. Then you'll need to let it run at least a day, 24 hours through its cycle, so that there's any leftover fines from the clay that's in the sand is washed out, and then you're ready to plant. So be sure you go to the website, look at all the information available on the website to help you with this garden system, and then look for our planting installation instruction video, which will be coming up next. Now you're ready to plant. This is Ted Hallett, the Garden Master, with the infamous Garden Master Bucket Garden. Look for that video. It's coming up next.